As you might have figured out by now, most of these videos start with me walking the dog. I was down on the beach before. Hello! As usual, I'm walking the dog. And I realised just how long I've been promising to do a tutorial video. So I'm going to get stuck straight in, but first I'm going to make myself a brew. So on to the tutorial. I can't use my tailor for this because the song isn't in standard tuning, and when I was tuning my tailor down, I snapped one of the strings and I can't be bothered to change them. So I'm going to use the Honer for this one. This is a guitar that I used to play at a lot of my gigs. And yeah, so same thing, it's in standard tuning currently. So what you're going to need to do is tune the G down to the note of E. So what I tend to do this is just play the two at the same time, like that, and tune the G down until it sounds like the same note. So can you hear that's the same note? They're different octaves, but it is the same. So you can tune it down to there. If you don't hear that, then tune your G to this note. Awesome. You'll need a capo for this song as well, which is one of those if you don't know what that is, and it needs to be on the 4th fret. So the main thing with this song is the finger picking pattern. If you watched my video that I did on what to consider when learning to play the guitar, you'll remember that I said all of the skill, or most of the skill at least, is usually in the right hand. If you're right-handed, it's the hand that's doing the strumming or the finger picking. And this song's no exception. It's a bit of a finger picking style. It's not really for beginners, this one, I should add. But the fretting hand is actually very simple what that's doing. So the first movement is going to be an E minor shape, which is first finger on the 2nd fret on the A string, which is there, and your 2nd finger should be the same fret but one string underneath, like that. And the first phrase, actually I'll teach you the chords for the first bit first. The chords go like the E minor shape, as I just said. Then you move your first finger to the bottom E string, like so. And then the third movement is taking everything off and putting the first finger on the 2nd fret on the D string. And you could actually just start there, move to there, and then take that one off. But I'll show you why you shouldn't do that in a minute, for little embellishments and things. And the finger picking pattern is the important bit with this song, as I said before. So what you should be doing is, with a lot of finger picking patterns, the thumb will bounce between 2 strings. So you hear sometimes in a lot of country music, the thumb will do like that. This song's actually in 3/4 time, which means that it's counted 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, instead of traditionally a lot of pop music is in 4/4, which means that you count to 4, obviously 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. But yeah, this song's a little bit different. It's in 3/4, and I'll do the finger picking pattern slowly at first so that you can understand how it should look, or how it should look. So I start usually with my thumb over the E string, my first finger, on the G, which is actually tuned down to an E, and my 2nd finger on the B string. That's just where I naturally rest my fingers. And the first 2 notes are played with your thumb. So on the bottom E, and then on the D string. So you've got thumb, thumb, first finger, thumb, 2nd finger. And the whole pattern really is just that repeated. You've got thumb, thumb, first finger, thumb, second finger. So fast, it should sound. So I'm not a finger picker at all, by the way. When I started to learn this song, I literally sat for probably about half an hour to an hour just repeating that finger picking pattern without actually fretting any notes, and I've screwed it up a little bit there. And that's how I built up the sort of confidence to play this song live, because as I said, I'm not a finger picker at all, and it was a little bit nerve-wracking for me to play this live, because I find it quite difficult to sing at the same time as well. So yeah, that pattern should be E, D. I'm naming the strings, by the way, not the actual notes. I'm ignoring this hand really. But yeah, bottom E, D, G, bottom E, B. That's confusing to do that. So yeah, this is the pattern, as I said. Let's tune that down a little bit. Sounds much better when it's in tune. So yes, as I was saying, if you do both of those, if you use that pattern here, but changing these, changing the chords down here, you should get something that sounds like this. And you'll notice when we play the final chord, we don't use the bottom E, we move to the A string. So we're playing from the bottom E, and then to the A. And you'll remember that I said not to jump from the E minor to that string to just taking that off, and that's because there's a little embellishment that you can play on the last of these chords, which goes like. And yeah, that's just done by keeping this, playing the B string with your second finger at the same time as the thumb hits the A string. So you're playing both at the same time there. And literally, there's so many tutorials of different songs online, and by far the easiest way to become confident at playing a song is repeat, repeat, repeat. Just keep doing it. As I said before, it doesn't really take me very long to learn how to play a song. But even I was like an hour or maybe even 2 hours just repeating that like that. So yeah, that's the first little riff of the song. And what I really like about Ed Sheeran's finger-picking style is it's okay to be quite messy with it as well. If you miss a string, or if you shouldn't really hit the wrong string, but if you miss a string or you miss fretting a note or something, it doesn't always matter. You can be a little bit messy with it, which, yeah, it makes things easier. Definitely makes things easier. So the next bit after that bit that I just played is power chord shapes. Up here to that's the 8th fret, but with the capo, obviously that's 1, 2, 3, 4th fret. So you've got, it's the same finger picking pattern here, from the A though, as if you're playing the final chord from the first riff. So you're bouncing off the A string, you're never going back down to this E for this section, and it's literally power chord, down 2 frets, and then back to that 3rd chord. So all of that up to now, start to finish, is sorry if that sounded a little bit messy, by the way. And then, yeah, all of that's repeated for the verse. That literally is how the verse goes. So you've got, you look so wonderful in your dress, I love your hair like that, the way it falls on the side of your neck, down your shoulders and back. We are surrounded by all of these lies and people who talk too much. You got the kind of look in your eyes as if no one knows anything but us. And then you've got the pre-chorus, which literally hangs on to that 3rd chord of the first riff. So I tend to strum this bit with my nails just because my fingers get tired of finger picking. It's very lazy of me, but I find that it doesn't really affect it that much. But you can just carry on with the finger picking pattern, but I tend to go, should this be the last thing I see? So you'll notice the chords there are the final chord of the first riff, and then to that E minor shape, the 1st chord of the original riff, and then to the power chord on the 2nd fret. So, should this be the last thing I see, I want you to know it's enough for me, and all that you are is all that I'll ever need. And it literally is that, and then you go straight back to that original riff for the chorus. So in love, so in love, so in love, so in love. So yeah, I'm trying not to go, I'm trying not to slow down too much. I find a lot of these tutorials online for songs, they take too long. At the end of the day, if there's a bit that you're struggling on, pause the video and watch closely. I'm trying to get as many close-ups here and here as possible so that you can see what's going on. So I'll play all of that slowly, just all in one go. I don't want to keep repeating just little snippets. So from the start, you've got your hair like that, the way it falls on the side of your neck, down your shoulders and back. We are surrounded by all of these lies and people who talk too much. You got the kind of look in your eyes as if no one knows anything but us. Should this be the last thing I see, I want you to know it's enough for me, 'cause all that you are is all that I'll ever need. So in love, so in love, so in love, So you'll notice in that last bit, I kept strumming even on the chorus as well, which is something you can do. As I said, with Ed Sheeran songs, quite often that's the case. It's not very important that you're really accurate with it. And particularly when Ed plays live, he tends to play really fast. And even he makes a few mistakes here and there, and it doesn't affect the performance. Really, he uses the guitar as an accompanying instrument for his voice, and the songs tell a story, so I find that it doesn't matter too much about being really, really precise with it. Just let it flow, and it should sound fine. So, yeah, virtually the next part of the song is the same thing repeated, obviously with different lyrics. The only different bit is that middle 8 bit where Ed uses a loop station for that bit. If you haven't got one, obviously you'll just have to sing the 3 parts one after the other. If you have got a loop station, you can do that. I've not got mine set up at the moment, so I can't really show you how it works, but pretty much after the second chorus, so in love, so in love, so in love, so in love, and then Ed clicks the loop station on here. So as the Lumiere starts, the chords to that bit are as the pre-chorus, I think it was, where the power chords start. So you're on the 4th fret in relation to the capo, the 8th fret on the guitar, on that power chord shape. That's the first chord of the middle 8. The second chord is the last chord of the original riff that we learned. So just down there like that, and then the E minor shape is the 3rd chord, and then the power chord on the 2nd fret is the 4th chord, and it's literally just that repeated for that section as well. So as I said at the beginning of the video, the stuff that the left hand's doing is actually quite basic, very basic chords really. All of the skill is in this hand. So yeah, you've got that bit that goes and on that part it doesn't go down to the E minor, it just goes straight to that final chord and stays there for twice as long. So if you're using the loop station, the end of this phrase, as the second phrase starts, would be where you'd click it again so that it loops over again. And then you could try finger picking the chords over the strummed chords, because obviously the loop will hold the strummed chords that you've just done. And then the next bit is chords exactly the same, and a third time. And then loop station off for should this be, back to the pre-chorus again. To hear how that sounds all together with the loop station, you can see my cover that I did of that. I'll link the video in the description below. So yeah, and then you've got the pre-chorus back into the chorus again. So in love, that section, and then the outro is literally just the verse with a really abrupt ending. So you've got, you look so beautiful in your dress, love your hair like that, in a moment I knew you best. And that's how the song ends, just like that. So I know I've kind of rushed through this song a little bit in this tutorial, but as I said, It's the first tutorial I've ever done. I don't really know how to teach. I'm not brilliant at teaching. But yeah, I hope you sort of got the gist and you were able to follow it enough. Leave comments in the comments section below this video, by the way, if there's anything that I've gone through too fast or anything that I should change about the way I do these videos. All the comments are really, really helpful to me because I'm just starting out, and yeah, I appreciate the feedback from you all. So I'm going to leave this video here, and hopefully you'll be able to follow it. You can go back on the video if you want to look into more detail. As I said, I've got these other angles. I've got this camera on my right hand, this camera on my left hand, so hopefully you'll be able to follow it enough. And subscribe if you haven't already, if you want to see more videos. It's not just going to be tutorials, there'll be live covers, studio covers that I do in this room, and maybe some random vlogs and things. I go over to Norway for a couple of gigs in February, so there'll definitely be a video diary of that coming up, and other things as well. Leave a thumbs up if you like the video, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. Bye bye. So in love.